Last month, two different groups came here to Detroit Lakes to look at bonding projects. One particular building bond project in particular, that being the Heartland Trail. Earlier in October, the House Budget Bonding Committee was in town visiting, and then at the end of the month, the Senate also came to visit. Now, the Heartland Trail has been something that's been a dream of a lot of people here in the Lakes area for a long, long time. Heck, as an area resident, I could definitely see the local impact it would have and how it would help Detroit Lakes. However, I'm still very nervous whether or not we're going to get some bonding money for this. The city of Detroit Lakes has invested money with consultants, as some other communities and lobbyists down in the Twin Cities, in order to try to get this put on the front burner of the bonding bill. At least one of the bonding versions last year had it in, but it didn't make the final version of the bill. Not only do we have people lobbying to hopefully have this put in the bonding bill, we've also got the economic impacts that it potentially could have here for Detroit Lakes and Becker County. However, I really dispute a lot of those findings and research, mainly because when I've independently researched myself, and I've looked at studies done in 2008 that are hundreds of pages long that talk about the economic impact of recreational trails, whether they be biking trails, multi-purpose seasonal trails, as the Heartland Trail actually would be a multi-purpose seasonal. We're talking, snowmobiles, horseback riding, hiking, biking, etc. It's really tough to determine that economic impact. Really what some of the studies that I've looked at indicate is there is a positive impact. However, it's debatable how much local positive impact it has versus state positive impact, and whether or not the actual positive impact actually outweighs the cost of putting in the infrastructure and maintaining it. There's a lot of other things you can kind of tie in there to try to make a mathematical equation to look like a really good deal, but I've never seen the numbers for somebody to say this is what the economic ability of this community was before, and this is what it was after the trail came in. I've not been able to see that number, that comparison, to see what the improvement is, and I don't know if those kind of numbers exist, but I would love to find them one day. But here's what I do know. We have a lot of tourism here in the Lakes area, and northern Minnesota has definitely benefited from bike trails. You see a lot of that in the Northeast. I think bike trails are one of those things, if you build it, they won't come, but if you have other amenities around and you have it, they will use it. And that's where I think a bike trail can be beneficial here, especially the Heartland Trail. Now, with the Heartland Trail in particular, this is the sticking point. $3 million being asked for about 8 miles of trail, and I don't know another section of trail in the state of Minnesota that's going to cost that much to build. Most of the Heartland Trail and many other biking trails are made by simply tearing up old unused railroad tracks that are already graded, already leveled, and basically putting some blacktop over it. It can be done relatively cheaply. Here in the Lakes area, though, the stretch we're talking about from DL to Frazee, well, it's much more complicated. We got lakes, we got marshland, wetland, etc. that this trails need to go around. That's part of the reason the price is going up. But locally, there's already been investments made by communities of Detroit Lakes, Frazee, and Becker County, such as putting in underpasses and plans to do more of that sort of thing to make the trail safer and more user-friendly. But I think we're going to have a tough time convincing people outside the Lakes area that $3 million for 8 miles of trail is a good investment. However, I had one city councilman, Bruce Imholt here in Detroit Lakes, put it this way to me, and I think he said it really eloquently, and it was simply this. While you can see that's a tough sale, other communities like St. Cloud, the Northeast, and other parts of the state like Rochester have these bike trails that are paid for by state money. And since Detroit Lakes residents' tax money went for those trails, I think some of that tax money could also be spent here in Becker County. I agree with Bruce in his assessment in that, but we'll have to see after all the years of fighting if this will be the year that it will be included in the bonding, because 75% of the proposals won't get funded. We got to find out if we're in the 25% that will.